When you start saying, you know what, this from the scriptures I'll take, that from the scriptures I'll leave. All you're doing is nibbling, man. You're not a feaster. You're not hungry for him. You're hungry for a religion made in your own image. And here's why it's terrifying. Because you are a product of a cultural moment right now. You are part of a geographic moment where you have certain convictions about certain things. And when you start writing off the God of the universe and the authority of Scripture, based on that moment, things can get messy. I'll illustrate it this way. Timothy Keller, in his book, The Reason for God, he says this: be very careful to not write off certain things about God, partly because don't you think if God existed, he would actually probably disagree with you sometimes? Like, don't you think you might, if God really did exist, don't you think there may be things that he believes and wants from your life that will scrape up against you once in a while? So he says, listen, in the Western world, we love Jesus' teaching about love your enemies, right? You go down to Vancouver, walk down the streets of Vancouver and ask people, what do you think about Jesus teaching love your enemies? And they will say, oh, they'll be drinking their green tea with their Lululemons on, and they'll say, dude, that's amazing, right? Love your enemies? That's legit. We love that as Canadians, right? Because we don't have any enemies. We're like Switzerland. We're like neutral, man. It's like there's no enemies. So we're like, yeah, we should love your enemies. We love this ethic. We love this value. Then you go, what do you think about the biblical ethic on sexuality? You know, you can't get married. You can't have sex till you're married, man and woman. Well, guys, come on. That's a little old school. No, we shouldn't accept that, right? That's generally how a Vancouverite. Now, here's the problem. Get on a plane and go to Saudi Arabia. And go down the streets of Saudi Arabia and ask them what they think about the biblical sexual ethic. They'll say, oh, that is legit. Bible sexual ethic, you make sure you're married, you make sure, it might even be a little loose, right? It might even be the Bible, might be a little, but we like that, sexual ethic, good. Then say, how do you feel about love your enemies? Pray for those who persecute you. What's that? You mean those people who killed my ancestors? I'm not taking that. I'm not letting this aspect of the life and teachings of Jesus have authority over my life at all. Here's what we're doing in those moments. We're just nibbling, man. We're just taking, it's terrifying. We just take what we want. We take what's already adaptable. And so all we want to do is become a Christianized version of what we already are and what we totally intend on remaining for the rest of our life. And Jesus goes, no, you don't understand, man. You hunger and thirst not for a God made in your own image. You hunger and thirst for the real God of the universe.